Okay, now that we've got our overlay, we need to add some food and water caches or something out there that we can go out there and collect to be able to keep our progress bars going up. Let's start with the thirst. I thought for the thirst, what we could do was find a place and we can add another water body that has to be accessed. So maybe right in here, this could work. Maybe right in here, when it rains, water collects in here and we can collect the water. So what we can do is I'm going to come up to create all classes and I'm going to search for water. And there is a water lake. Drag that in like maybe right about right here. Now it's going to kind of deform at first, but that's okay. What we need to do now is grab some of these points and bring them in. By the way, make sure that you're not snapped in right here or it's snapping at 10,000 units. So I want to turn that off. So I'm going to kind of just drag these in. This. We're just going to grab and drag this and make this little lake in here. You notice that it's bringing my terrain back in as I start to pull off. That's part of the settings here. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Too far. A little tricky. It's just got to kind of play with it, but we'll create a little bit of a water cache right in here. Okay, so what we can do here is look at some of the settings here. Under water body, let's scroll down. Under this terrain curve settings, we could probably make a channel depth. See that? Now we're actually giving it some water depth here. That's nice. We don't really need this. Oh. So now we kind of just have this pond that's collecting. All right. Okay, so it's kind of put it up on this hill. Not ideal. If we start playing with these settings, we'll kind of start to get what we want. Most of it's going to be under this terrain settings, and sometimes, okay, so min gets rid of that hill. We don't want that hill. Now we're too high. The water's just falling, so we need to bring this down in the Z so that's on top of the ground. So this already looks a lot better. Let's make it, all right, where's my terrain? Okay, the curve ramp width, we're gonna, that looks okay. That's good. That's the depth. Okay. So it's kind of coming down and it's collecting in here. Let's see. There's another setting. Here it is. This one opens this up quite a bit. There we go. We don't really need it that deep. Let's see. What does that look like? That's not bad. So it's kind of creating this natural pool of water here that we need to come collect. Okay, that works. So this could be where we have to go and actually, to replenish our thirst, we have to come collect water right here. All right, okay, what about food? Okay, well, we have a lot of options up here in Quixel Bridge. We can come in here and if we go under assets, there's actually a food category and it's mostly fruits and vegetables and stuff. So we could just pick one of these and have it be what we have to collect. So what do we want to use? I'm thinking we're going to survive on coconuts. So maybe we just take this coconut object. I'm going to take it. And we just need a medium quality is fine on this coconut. All right, so we're going to download that coconut. and add it to our project. All right, so I'm going to head back over here to the beach for a minute, over by our guy. So let's go over here. It's a little too far. And let's add a food source here. So we're going to add one of those coconuts here. So I'm going to go find Megascans, 3D Assets, Coconut, and here's the coconut right here. So let's bring that out. It's tiny. You can see it right here. If I hit F and zoom in, you can see it. It's actually probably about right for its size, for its scale, but we're going to make it a little bit bigger so that it can be seen from far away. And then what else I thought we could do is it'd be nice if maybe this had some motion to it. Maybe it slowly rotates, indicating that it's something to pick up. So that's pretty easy to do. All we have to do is come over with the coconut selected. You can hit add and search for rotate, and you'll find rotating movement. Very cool. And then on rotating movement, you'll see that we have rotation rate, and right now it's set to 180. So just make sure that's 180. Let's hit play and see if that's working. Go over to our coconut. Let's see, it's not moving. Okay, well, let's see what's going on here. Hit escape. Oh man, that's what's happened. It's not set as movable. So yeah, that's not going to move if we don't have that set as movable. So let's try that again. Movable and hit play. Oh, there it goes. You can see it over here spinning. Cool, let's give it some other effects so it's easier to see when it's out on the map that it's something to collect. So the thought here is that maybe we could add some particles around this coconut to just give it a little more razzle dazzle, I guess. So we can do this using a Niagara particle effect, and it will be really easy to put together. All right, so let's see how that works. If I come over to the content drawer, I'm up in content. Maybe we just right here in our content folder, we're going to create a new FX, Niagara system. That's fine. It's selected emitter. And then what we'll want to do is, this is a good one right here, this hanging particles. We're going to add that and hit finish. And then I'm going to call this NI for Niagara, and we'll call this food. And I'm going to drag this in here, and I'm going to put it right where our coconut is. And you'll start to see we have these particles floating around, which is really cool. We'll put it with this coconut. Okay, and I've created this folder called food, and I've put my coconut in there. Let's also put this emitter in there as well. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm actually going to drag it right over the coconut and let go, and now the emitter is attached to the coconut. So if I select the coconut, if I move the coconut around, all these emitting particles are going to move with the coconut. So wherever I put that coconut, that now works, which is really cool. All right. We can tweak these particles so they look different if we want to. So let's move this right in front of our player so that we can see what this looks like during playtime. Right about right here. Let's see. Hit play. Yeah, there's our coconut. You see these particles around it. Let's go change them up a little bit. So if I come over here and I browse to asset and double click, I'm going to have a whole bunch of particle options here. And there is a lot here. And a lot of this is going to be much more advanced. But there's some simple settings we can change here to kind of change what our particles look like. Okay, so we'll touch a couple of these settings. We won't go through most of these because obviously there is a lot here. Learning the Niagara visual effects system would be an entire course on its own. There's so much stuff going on here. But maybe just a couple settings here, such as the spawn rate. If we wanted to spawn some extra sprites, we can do that here with the spawn rate. So if we move this up to, say, 150, we're going to get more sprites happening. And then maybe the size. So we could actually change how big these sprites are right here with this curve. So if I pull this up, we're going to get some larger sprites here. If I hit the space bar, you can see what that's doing. And maybe the color. So these are the RGB values. RGB, red, green, blue. So if I pull this up, you're going to see it's going to start to change color here. So I'm kind of getting some nice bright purplish blue in there. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to compile and save. I'll pull this up to the top. And let's hit play. Cool. So I got all these sprites. It's kind of sprite overload. We need to tone that down for sure. But it is cool that now from far away, you can kind of see that there is something happening over here. Okay. Other thing is our coconut's spinning kind of fast. Maybe we're going to move this down to 90. That will slow down that rotation. Looks better. Good. Let's just modify our sprites really fast. Let's see. Let's take down the size for sure. It's just a little too big, so maybe 1.5. And then again, the spawn, there's a lot of them. Let's take this down to 100. That looks like. Save that. All right, cool. Looks cool. So it's kind of just showing us that we have a food source there, that if we're far away, we can see it, and ultimately going to be able to come up here and collect it, add to our hunger health, and add to our thirst. And yeah, that should work well. Okay, so we got this cool coconut, and it is spinning. But what we'll want to do is, right now it's its own static object, and we've just kind of copied on this Niagara particle effect on it. This is fine if we only had one of them, but we're going to have several instances of this throughout our island to collect. And we're going to want to add a collision mesh. We're also going to add some logic around when it's collected. So we'll want this to be a blueprint object instead. So what we can do is come up to the coconut, and right here it says convert this actor into a reusable blueprint class. That's what we want. And then we can call this whatever we want. So we'll call this one a coconut. Coconut. And we'll hit select. This is going to put the coconut in its own blueprint class now. Now you'll notice though, we did get the rotation movement that came with it. I don't know why it's come twice. We're going to delete one of those. So that came in just fine, but our Niagara visual effect didn't. Good, we're already docked here at the top. So let's come over here and copy this, edit, copy, and we can just come in here and paste it in. Awesome, like that. So now that's also part of the coconut. So if I compile and save this, come back out, I can completely delete this stuff now. Don't even need this, because we can come in here and just drag out our coconut anywhere. And now we have the coconut, it will be spinning, rotating. We have the particle effect attached, and we can just start adding these anywhere we want into our scene. So now we have our coconut blueprint. Okay, so let's just throw a few of these coconuts out here really fast around our island. It would be fun if, like, later on you wanted to create some volume boxes that randomized where they placed the coconuts so you didn't know where they were. That'd be cool. Maybe we'll do that for a bonus project later. But for right now, we're just going to come in and we're going to grab our coconut. We'll put one kind of on the beach over here. We'll have one right here. And then we will throw one, I don't know, maybe over here. I'll have another coconut. And then one inside of the canyon in here. Gee, get rid of that. Let's throw a coconut in here. And maybe one on the other side of the island here. Right over here. That will do. Okay. We got our coconuts in. We got a little bit of a water. This one's going to be trickier to get to. So maybe water will last a little bit longer than food. But yeah, so we got water, we got the coconuts, and now we're ready to start adding some logic to our actual health bars so that this stuff can start working and we can collect things and they'll add or they'll subtract based on what's happening. So we'll do that here shortly.